Hey, good morning to both of you. The fire is out, but unfortunately the home is a total loss. Good news though, the residents were not home at the time of the fire, so no one was injured in this fire. Also, crews still out here on scene. Jay Schwartz is the fire chief of the volunteer fire department here in Paige. Good morning. What can you tell us about this fire? What do you guys know?
It was fully involved when we got here. We checked to make sure no one was home. We had neighbors come and tell us that they weren't here, so we started attacking the fire.
We know the fire was called in around 5:45 this morning. Took you guys some extra time to knock it out. Why was that?
Yes, ma'am. We have a water supply issue here in Paige. We don't have hydrants, water supply, so we have to shuttle all of our water in. The fire trucks are called tenders. So we have to rely on the trucks to bring us water for the engines to fight the fire.
And that's been the case for a couple of years now. How did that all start? I mean, is that something normal not to have fire hydrants?
No, ma'am, it's not normal. We wish we had more, but the Lee County water that supplies the water in this area that gets the drinking water is what they call it. They say they don't provide hydrants for firefighting. So for us in this area, we rely on the trucks, the tenders, to bring us water for this types of fires, to shuttle water around to us.
And I noticed that there is a fire hydrant just across the street from where we are. So the time you guys spent knocking out this fire, could the home possibly have been saved if those fire hydrants around here were working?
Yes, ma'am. I could have. The crew that I had assigned to the trucks shuttling me water, I could have had them on attacking the fire. I had to, we're volunteers, it's early in the morning, a lot of people already headed to work and stuff, so I had to use what resources people that I have and apply them to driving the trucks to get the water to me. And so we were very limited on how we attacked the fire with what crew we had.
All right, Chief. Well, thank you for giving us that information. Again, for those of you just tuning in, a house here in Paige, Texas, a total loss. Took crews about 2 hours to knock it out, but thankfully no one was injured. Back to the studio. Hey, good morning, Lauren. The fire was first called in around 5:45 this morning, and you can see that it is unfortunately a total loss. Took crews some extra time to knock out this fire, but when they did arrive, the home was fully engulfed. The homeowners of the 1,800 square foot home were not here when the fire started. 3 fire departments responded, including the volunteer fire department in Paige and Bastrop County ESD 2. When I spoke with the fire chief, he says it took them longer than normal to knock out the fire because there are no working fire hydrants in Paige. He had to send some of his crew members to the station back and forth so they can get more water.
Water supply for a structure fire requires so much water to initially attack. For safety of the firefighters, the engines only carry 1,000 gallons of water, and we can't just go in with 1,000 gallons of water on the ground on the truck. You can't just put your firefighters in harm's way, sending them straight into a structure to make a real good attack. So we're having to do it from the outside, and then we were limited on how many people because I had to assign them to the other trucks to get the water to me. So they're having to go back and forth to the fill station.
Now you can see there's a fire hydrant about 150 feet away from this house, but like we told you, it doesn't work. Chief Schwartz says the closest working fire hydrant here is about 3 miles from this home. So it did take them longer than normal to knock out the fire because there are no working fire hydrants in Paige. Thankfully, no injuries have been reported, but the cause of the fire is still under investigation. The fire was called in around 5:45 this morning. When crews got here to the scene, the home was fully engulfed, but thankfully no one has been injured. The homeowners of the 1,800 square foot home were not here when the fire started. 3 fire departments responded, including the volunteer fire department in Paige and Bastrop County ESD 2. When I spoke with the fire chief, he says it took them longer to knock out the fire because there are no working fire hydrants in Paige. He says he had to keep sending some of his crew members back and forth to the station so they can get more water. He also says this has been a problem for the past several years.
Water supply for a structure fire requires so much water to initially attack. For safety of the firefighters, the engines only carry 1,000 gallons of water, and we can't just go in with 1,000 gallons of water on the ground on the truck. You can't just put your firefighters in harm's way, sending them straight into a structure to make a real good attack. So we're having to do it from the outside, and then we were limited on how many people because I had to assign them to the other trucks to get the water to me.
This hydrant is about 150 feet away from the house that burned, but like we mentioned, this hydrant does not work. We're told the closest working one is about 3 miles away from here. Now, the house that burned is a total loss. The cause of the fire is under investigation. Reporting in Paige, Jacqueline Sarkeesian, Fox 7 Austin News.